Yeah. So
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Where is everybody from? I'm in Illinois, USA.
Yeah, I'm from Tunisia, but I live in US too.
So I'm going to make quinoa salad. For years, I just made this with rice, and then I jumped on the popularity bandwagon and tried something called quinoa. And this right here is 3 kinds of quinoa. It is a red quinoa, a black quinoa, and a white quinoa. And quinoa is from Peru, and it is a very, I like it. It tastes kind of proteiny, like nutty. And so it has, I don't know, a lot more flavor, and they say it has a lot more nutrition. I don't know. But if you don't have access to quinoa, you can do rice, you can do couscous, you can do pasta as the base for this. And then all the different vegetables we're going to chop to put in it. Every one of them are vegetables you can eat, not cooked. And I'm primarily putting them in for different colors. And so we've got quite a few different vegetables, but again, all for different colors. I've been doing Leave It to Chef for about almost 5 years. Every week we get together and we cook together and have fun together, and then sit down and eat together afterwards. So starting is you get your pan and put it on low heat, and you just toast either the rice or quinoa. Give it a little bit extra nutty flavor. So literally I'm putting it in the pan with no water, nothing, and just medium heat, slightly toast it for, well, until you start smelling it. You don't really want it to burn, but just slightly toast it. And while we're waiting for that to toast, so can you see how colorful? I mean, quinoa is very, very small. It's like really seem like more like a seed. It's like a seed of the plant. So while we're waiting for that to toast, we will chop up all the different vegetables. So really the only 3 things we're doing is we're cooking the quinoa, or if you want to do rice, chopping up a lot of vegetables very fine, and then making a salad dressing to go on top of it. Now, I personally like having, what is it called? Some protein. And so I tend to always add beans, a can of beans, but you don't have to. If you are allergic to something, let's say sesame, I really like putting some toasted sesame oil in it. But if you're allergic to sesame, you put a little bit, you don't put that in. Let's see. You can totally and completely leave out the beans and tomatoes. Actually, I'm going to turn this down a little bit. I don't know if you can hear it starting to pop, the little. And you can put quite literally any type of vegetable in. You're looking for color and crunch. And then I like adding some nuts to it. Again, if you're allergic, you don't have to. And the actual flavor of the sauce is vinegar, fresh ginger and garlic, some good olive oil, and a little bit of soy sauce. If you are, what do you call it? Can't do gluten, you might not put some soy sauce in there. And then, usually I put fresh tomatoes, but I came across these canned tomatoes.
لو حاجة عايز تكويها قولي.
Hello? These canned tomatoes, they're fire roasted tomatoes. So sometimes what I'll do is, you know, if you have a lot of fresh tomatoes, you get them and you roast them over the fire. But I started getting lazy because I had the access to these really nice fire roasted tomatoes in the can. So I tend to use those. I buy them pretty regularly. And then also in the sauce is lime juice and or lemon juice. So right now we've got the quinoa in the pot toasting. And when it starts smelling pretty toasted, we'll cover with water. You can also do the rice or the quinoa in a rice cooker, but quinoa cooks really fast. So that's another reason why I really like quinoa. If you're looking for a lot, you need to expand it for a lot. You can put a lot of zucchinis, yellow squash, or cucumbers. And that will expand your recipe with basically, you know, a cheaper ingredient maybe. And again, you want to cut everything up pretty small. It's like you're really like mincing everything up. And you also, you know, what is readily available, what kind of vegetable readily available, and what's in season. But again, crunch and color. So I like putting some green in it. I'll put some carrots for orange, some sweet peppers for orange. This right here is a poblano pepper, so it's slightly spicy. And then definitely for color, I like using purple cabbage and purple onion. So, and if you're making a large batch of this might be worth it to, if you have some kind of electric food processor, to chop up a whole bunch of it, because you are making everything really small, just finely chopped. So that was actually zucchini. Again, you can use cucumber or yellow squash, and that's a filler, not as much, like I said, for color, as much as just a filler. Doesn't really have much taste. When it's really hot out, I definitely like using cucumbers, because cucumbers gives it a fresh, crisp, like coolness when it's really hot out. This is a cold salad, so basically you cook the rice, cool it down, or you can mix everything while it's hot, but ideally what you do is you cool the rice or quinoa beforehand, and then you mix everything. Because otherwise, you know, all your fresh vegetables, if you like just basically poured fresh hot ingredients right over it, would start cooking it. All right, so I think we got enough zucchini and sweet pepper.
So I got a question. Like, is it okay, like, if we have questions, to stop you some?
Of course.
Okay. So Nelly, Beher, are you just watching, or are you cooking with Or?
I think she said she already cooked.
I'm
dinner.
just watching now. It's not my cooking time. It's actually our bedtime right now. We cannot start cooking. It's so almost 9 o'clock in the evening. No more eating afterwards. But
what country are you in?
Bahrain, near to Saudi Arabia. If you know Bahrain,
Yeah,
it's different. It's close. It's a small island near to Saudi Arabia, but it's a separate country. Bahrain, that's what we call it. I love quinoa. Is one of I found it tasteless. Excuse my honest but I force myself to eat it because it's healthy. Like too many other healthy food, we have to eat it because our body needs it.
Well, I mean,
Thank
most people
also
say
for that.
rice has no flavor, but we eat that pretty frequently, right?
No, but
Right.
rice for me, it's very flavorful because I love it. I also add something on the rice, like I add kind of meat and vegetables, and rice will be tasty for me. But
So this
like
is how I grew up always doing rice. We would toast it first and it would give it like a nutty flavor is how I always grew up making rice. So that's why I'm doing it with this the same way.
I'll try your way. Yeah, I promise I will try the quinoa. I'll buy quinoa and do it, even though I don't like the taste, but I'll try to do it your way. I'll toast it first. Probably it tastes better. Hopefully, because I tried it actually outside. I never tried to cook it, but I
Yeah,
tried.
I mean, like you said, it doesn't really have much flavor, so that's why, you know, you can add like absolutely tons of stuff. It's just really a what do you call it?
Oh,
It's a vehicle to carry the flavors. So you like, you know, when I make the salad dressing, you wouldn't eat olive oil and vinegar plain, but we're
I
going
love the
for
vegetables adding. Yeah, the vegetables also. And this is a green chili. Is it green chili that you're cutting right now? Yeah, green
not yet.
chili,
Right
right?
now, I've still got some sweet peppers. These are little sweet peppers.
Ah,
And then
sweet.
I do have a green chili coming up.
Okay.
So I'm trying to mix a mix of all flavors. So the vegetables are mostly sweet vegetables I have here. But then I also have sour, little soy sauce or sugar for salty, olive
Sweetness, yeah.
oil for fat, and then the nuttiness of toasting this and putting a little sesame oil gives it the umami. So we're basically covering all the different flavors all in one recipe.
Yeah, very healthy, very, very healthy.
Yep. And every time I serve this at, you know, a family function or bring to friends, it always gets all eaten. And I think partially it's because it's very colorful. Most of my food I cook is healthy and good for you, but not really looks good. And so I've been trying to practice making things look a little better. So now we'll go with this is a little bit hot pepper. This is a poblano. And now if you had the time, this right here is really good if you put it on the flame of your stove and toast it. Poblanos are absolutely phenomenal toasted. I've even been to a Mexican restaurant where they stuffed it with rice and or meat and then toasted it.
It's a Mediterranean style. We do it here. I mean, with the we can eat like this, like with eggplant and we call it bell pepper. We call it here bell pepper.
Okay, so this one, that was let's see, a bell pepper. I have one here. Let me grab one. Is not a spicy one. Oh,
Yeah, it's very sweet. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so this one is a bell pepper.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's what we bake. We bake it with eggplant, and it's colored. Like we bake like yellow, green, and red.
Oh, I did cut up a yellow. I cut up a yellow bell pepper in here. That's what this one is.
I saw it. Yeah. I've seen that. But if we bake, I'm talking about baking. Yeah, this colorful bell pepper, we bake it, and then we put it in couple cloves of garlic and olive oil, and it's like a side plate. It's like a salad.
So this right here is purple cabbage. Again, everything I'm cooking is, everything I'm cutting up is stuff that you can eat not cooked.
Raw, yeah.
Yeah. And it's really just like you're looking for stuff that is crunchy and colorful. And then I'm just cutting everything really small. All right. So I think this is Now it's really smelling toasted, so I'm just gonna fill it full of water and then cook it.
Lucky if you can smell it. I bet it smells warm.
And you know, quinoa is just like rice, where you put twice as much water as you put the ingredient. But I just always learned that you just you know, basically just cover the pan, so you don't have to measure it exactly. So now I'm putting it on high heat to cook it. So again, the quinoa, I just toasted it in a pan until it started smelling really well, and then now it's just slow cooking. So
Quinoa is the origin of quinoa is Latin America.
right, it's from a country called Peru, and
Peru and Bolivia also.
it grows in the mountains. And I think it's not actually a grain, but a seed, but I don't know for sure. But I do know it's very, very small. And then after it's cooked, it looks a little funny because it has the little sprouts. It almost looks like little teeny worms almost. First time I ate it, and I was like, ooh, it's got full of worms, but it's the little teeny sprout of the seed. So there, I've got almost all of my vegetables cut up. Oh, no, I forgot onion. So I've got a little bit of purple onion to put in there. Again, if you notice, most of the vegetables.
It's like salad.
What's that?
It is like salad. You are everything is raw.
Yes, this whole thing is a salad. We'll cook. Basically, I cook quinoa or rice, and then you let it cool, and then you mix all this with it with ingredients.
Okay.
So,
Carrot, bell pepper, red cabbage.
and
onion.
I add beans to it to add protein
Black beans,
sometimes. So, and most of these vegetables, if you notice, with exception of the spicy pepper, are most of them are sweet vegetables actually.
Yeah.
I did sweet pepper, sweet onion, sweet purple cabbage. And you can see, look how, I mean, how very colorful everything is. It's just a lot of color. And so while the quinoa is cooking, it usually takes about 15 minutes to cook. I will make the dressing now. So the dressing is really vinegar and oil. Now, if you don't want to mix it, when I'm making a really big batch of it, I just pour all the ingredients in the pot with it.
This is the
So
balsamic oil and the balsamic vinegar. Which type of vinegar we use?
Okay, so this right here is olive oil.
Okay.
And then we've got sweet vinegar. You can use apple vinegar or rice vinegar, but you want a sweet vinegar.
I like balsamic vinegar.
So it's 50-50 oil and vinegar. And then squeeze a fresh lime or lemon in it. So now we've got this, the sweet and sour and the oily all together, right? Now we want to add flavors to it. So I do fresh garlic, ginger, and then here, this right here is actually garlic tops. So I can do garlic tops, fresh garlic, and then parsley or cilantro. Many people, all right, so that's, the pot is, you can see, is boiling away there. Again, about 15 minutes. I guess I could set the timer, huh? Then we can, I tend to like cover it with a lid and then open the lid all the time. But if I set a timer, maybe I'll not open the lid. Some people don't really like the taste of cilantro. They genetically, it tastes like soap to them. So then you can use parsley instead. But
Okay.
Ideally you're doing all sweet stuff, and then a little toasted sesame oil, unless you're allergic to sesame oil.
Okay.
So again, in the sauce, we've got olive oil and sweet vinegar, or either an apple cider vinegar or rice vinegar as the base, lime juice or lemon juice. And so you've got 3 flavors already. You've got the fat flavor, the sweet flavor, and the sour flavor. Now we add what they call an umami, and that's a little bit of toasted sesame oil, just a little bit, maybe a teaspoon. And now we're going to add our spices. So again, the spices I like are garlic, either the cloves or right now the garlic is popping up, so we have a lot of this fresh garlic greens. And so put some of that in there. And then some fresh ginger and garlic. And that's pretty much the cilantro or the parsley gets chopped up and put on top of the whole thing at the end. You don't really want it in because the vinegar and the lime juice of the sauce will basically cook this. If you chop this up and put it inside lemon juice or vinegar, it will cook it and make it really soft. So if you chop this up and put it on the top, it doesn't get cooked, and then it retains the crispy flavor there. So, all right, let's put some ginger and garlic in the sauce here. I cook a lot with ginger. I really like ginger. It's like, I don't know. It's like a spice, and I feel like it's healthy at the same time. And then it is spicy, but it's not like where your mouth is on fire spicy. So, and then garlic. So I put some fresh garlic in there, but then I also put a clove here. Now, if you really like the fresh garlic, you can do the same thing. Like I put it in the vinegar, and again, that kind of cooks the garlic and it fuses together in the sauce. But if you really like garlic, you could chop some fresh garlic and sprinkle it on top of everything, and then it won't be so cooked. So this garlic is actually, by putting it in this vinegar and lime juice dressing, is now starting to cook. I don't know if you've ever done that, where you've got a piece of fish and you just put it in a bowl with either vinegar or lime juice and just let it sit for an hour or so, and that'll cook it. So this is like very colorful, but like you could quite literally just eat the salad. But basically I am, I add zucchini, yellow squash, cucumber, and rice or quinoa to stretch the salad out. So, because a lot of these ingredients, at least where I live, are very expensive. And so you want to stretch it out. And then, of course, I really love rice. I really love quinoa. So, but I feel like it doesn't have much, flavor by itself. So I'm not just going to, eat a bowl of rice or quinoa. So my quinoa there, I don't know if you can hear it, is just simmering away. All right. So now what I have in here, let's see if I can remember everything. I have a yellow sweet bell pepper, baby carrots, sweet purple onions, a tomato, purple cabbage, and then a few little red and orange sweet peppers, a poblano pepper, which is like the green pepper that's slightly spicy. What else? A zucchini. A lot of times I like adding a cucumber, but I didn't have one today. It's, again, what vegetables you have. I think that's it. I have made what I call a Southwest version of this. And all you do is you get a can of beans of some sort, a can of tomatoes, and a can of corn. And you mix that in there. And I call it it's a different, like this is more almost Asian flavored sauce versus my Southwest one. I do more of a Latin sauce. I mean, you don't put toasted sesame oil in it. You put jalapenos in it, and basically like more of a salsa flavor to it. All right. So get my pan. So really, what it takes now is when the quinoa is done, we put it in the pan. I put it in the fridge to cool, or I just mix this sauce in it. And while it's still hot, I put this other stuff in it. I don't like doing it hot because then it starts cooking some of the vegetables. It's much preferred if, all this is cold and crispy with it. So let's see here. Quinoa is done. Beat so let's get a little spoonful here. Again, it's colorful, and again, it has little teeny sprouts on it. And again, the first time I got it, I thought they were little worms, but it's like basically each seed, it's their little sprout that it would grow. So it's a slightly chewy because I toasted it. So it gives it a little crunchiness. And so the flavors are cooking in. And then one other thing is, if you let this sit for a while, if there's any moisture in it still, that moisture will disappear. Right. So let's see. It's a little too sour. And then I think a little more nutty. Let's give it a little more sesame oil. Now, if it's really sour, you can add a little sugar to it, but you have to remember the majority of the vegetables I have here are sweet. So really, all I have to do now is let this quinoa, put it in the fridge, let it cool down, and then I toss it with all these vegetables. A can of tomatoes, or you cut up like 2 or 3 tomatoes, and a can of black beans, or any kind of beans. You don't have to do the beans. I just tend to really like high protein meals, but you can see how like colorful it would be. Basically, you mix the rainbow quinoa with all these colorful vegetables, and then chop up a little cilantro or parsley on the top. Really nice, I think, summer salad. And even though it was a lot of different vegetables, I mean, did it seem super hard, or am I just like super accomplished? I don't know.
You're definitely super accomplished, or
So, I mean, that was a lot of different vegetables, as you saw, and you want to chop them all, you know, pretty like quarter bite size, like not, you know, bite size would be a piece to put in your mouth, but like you're dicing it pretty fine. And you can get away with actually putting very little. So if I'm doing this for a lot of people, I will do it with rice. I will cook my own beans, and you know, so the base of it is rice with just a little bit of beans. You want to have not very much beans. And then all of the vegetables get put in there to color it. And you can get away with making a really lot for very low cost. But mainly it's that sauce. That sauce, you're looking to try to hit every one of the flavor buds in your mouth. So the basis of it is some good oil. Actually, you could do cheap oil even. The base of it is oil, sweet vinegar, an apple cider vinegar or rice vinegar, a little bit of soy sauce or salt. Soy sauce accomplishes 2 things. It's salty and it's got the umami. So the other flavor is umami, and you get that in the toasted sesame oil and the soy sauce. And then lemon juice or lime juice. And the final one would be sweetness. You get some of it from the sweet vinegar, but you can add sugar or some kind of sweetener. But again, remember, in my case, I don't add any sugar because the majority of my vegetables are sweet. I even went with, you know, the purple cabbage is slightly sweeter than regular cabbage. Purple onion, sweeter than regular onion. I went with 3 kinds of sweet peppers. Carrots are sweet. Almost all my vegetables, with the exception of the poblano, which is a little spicy. And if you really like it spicy, add jalapeno pepper. Or my favorite thing of all, cayenne pepper. Just get a little bit. Be very careful though, you can really overdo it. But mix that in both the jalapenos chopped up or the cayenne pepper you put in the sauce. So, any questions? Quick, you can make a lot of it very quickly, very colorful.
yes, Nashwa, go ahead.
No, thank you. I bought the all ingredients this afternoon, and now I will try it. Just after the event, I will try it. I will.
But yeah,
Prepare it
so
for my
I mean,
dinner.
you can just
Mm.
mix that with a huge pot of rice. So this amount,
Mm.
if you don't like, I like a lot of vegetables, but when I'm making it for a lot of people, this amount of vegetables, I can make 4 trays of rice with this amount of vegetables,
Mm.
you know.
Nashwa, I said earlier that like I was kidding. I said that or is every woman's dream man, because we all dream about having a man who cooks for us. Or he does.
Yes.
So I can
You are
I can
right.
make
He's
one
so
plate
clever.
here so you can see what it like looks like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but it'll still be hot. So normally, you know, I wait until it's cool and then
You mix the vegetable. Mm.
yeah, it's just lots and lots of color. A little bit of
Me too.
so
I like eating a lot of vegetables.
yep, so you can see that's
Very nice. Very
almost the color of the plate.
Yeah.
nice.
Oh, I forgot to put the beans though. But again, you don't have to put beans, but I usually put beans because again, I like the higher protein. So,
Mhm.
and then a little bit of parsley.
It's like
Okay.
summer in the plate, Nashwa, you know?
Yes.
Summer, the colors and stuff.
Yeah, this plate is local artist made for this cooking show. So I do a cooking show every Saturday.
So like,
So
is that like cilantro or parsley or?
this right here is parsley.
Okay,
This is better.
for decoration.
Yeah, it's a flavor too, but I usually don't mix it in because either the hotness of the quinoa or the vinegar and lemon juice of the dressing cooks it, and it you know, it no longer has the texture, and which is actually, if you want to put greens in it, you can do that, but then you want to toss it usually with the dressing first, and then it kind of cooks down the greens. So all right, any questions?
No, thank you. It's
All
great.
right, I started making this as a way to eat a lot more vegetables. I
Yeah.
like vegetables, but you know, right here, you know how much vegetables is in that? That's a lot of vegetables.
Yes.
But you could,
6
I
or
honestly could
7
sit
types
down
of
and eat
vegetables.
like half of that pan of vegetables as a salad if I'm not careful, because it's so flavorful and colorful. So,
Yeah.
So let's see from, let's ask Eliza. Are you there, Eliza? Eliza?
good day.
Behe, what about you? Behe, he loves, like, you know what he usually cooks? Or he usually cooks like spaghetti with salmon.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
But you could do this as a side dish to pretty much anything. I mean, you know, any type, instead of putting beans in it, you could do a protein, you know, fish, tofu, pork, beef, anything. But this right here, by adding the beans into it, I basically make a complete meal, and therefore I don't have to, it becomes well, it becomes a complete meal instead of just a side dish. And so now you can also do it like I have it right now. If you wanted to, instead of putting the dressing in the quinoa like I did, you could just serve the quinoa as like a rice with like no flavor, and just put the dressing in the salad. And so then you have like basically a rice and a salad and then a main dish. But then it's a lot more costly, you know, it costs more, because this is, I mean, each one of these peppers right now are like $1. So this right here could be a very expensive meal. however, you know, by adding the rice and the beans, you are stretching it a lot. I'm honestly used to feeding lots of people. And so my goal now is to try to make things that are more colorful and fancy, but usually they end up being much smaller portions. So good deal. Thank you for the opportunity to travel the world. I think
Thank you.
and I hope that this might be something that you would be interested in doing. I especially like this salad when it's hot out. And then I would definitely add cucumbers to it. But it's, you know, it's basically a cold rice salad. You can take to a picnic, you can eat it with anything and everything. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Or.
Really,
Behe